Do it. Invite Rafael.
Oh, is Decker, is he leaving?
Yeah, he left.
Oh, dang.
Awesome.
Everything's awesome.
Everything. Coming to a theater near you.
That was neat to trade.
Coming soon to a theater near you for bad robots.
Hey, Drafel,
Yes.
if I feature your channel on mine, will you do the same for me?
Yes.
Alright, well, I will do that right now.
Will you feature my channel?
I've already featured you.
I was talking to
Oh.
Whose channel do I need to
Actually, I
feature?
already have you featured.
Vegetative.
Okay. I'm not going to tab out or do anything while tabbed out because invariably it crashes the client, so I'll do it after, you know, within the next 24 hours.
I'll bug you about it.
Sure.
What was it called again?
Robocraft Bay 1. Or Bay 01, sorry.
You gotta make a custom URL for your channel.
Why?
It just helps navigate people to you.
I've got a custom or are you talking about a domain name?
I don't know exactly what it is. I just went to your channel and it says channel and then a bunch of gibberish.
Yeah, you should have it should be Robocraft Bay 01. I tried to get Bay 01 but that was already taken, which sucks.
Yeah. Well, I googled you and that worked.
Yep. Game.
They're shitting bricks now.
3 YouTubers and a Lord Ball? We're fucked.
Do we all have
Well,
YouTube in our name? Yeah. Sweet. Where are you, Lord Bell? Ah.
Behind you.
I started off going to the left because I need the heads up for the head start.
Okay, we're flanking you, doing whatever, you know, that kind of stuff.
Word. I'll come in like a wrecking ball.
A Lord Ball?
A Lord Ball. Yeah, dude, you should rechange. Lord Ball, you should change your bot name from Oddball to Wrecking Ball.
I already have a bot named Wrecking Ball.
Well, that one's the Wrecking Ball.
No, my
Sniper in the
five
center.
is- My 5 is pushing.
Alright, let's push, push, push. Well, that was pretty nice. Nice. Behind you, Lord.
Good to go.
What's up? Why'd you die, bro? You gotta get to a better spot.
Can I give him the Teamspeak?
Can you what?
The guy in Twitch.
Mine.
I don't know what there's really to talk about. But sure, go ahead. He seems respectful enough.
Yeah, I'm not really talking either.
I'm sorry in advance
Time
if
to
the
go,
guy that's about to
Cap.
join the Teamspeak is kind of obnoxious. I don't know who he is. Seems like an okay guy, though. He just wants to ask some questions. Validian.
Oh, okay.
The guy he was asking on my Twitch about what you said or whatever, what you linked in the chat about the damage to blocks or whatever. So he might want to ask you some questions.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm always happy to talk about this stuff. It's fun. Yeah, there was another guy on messaged me on Reddit that want to join, talk about that kind of stuff.
Welcome to the channel.
Hello?
Hello.
Right.
Hey,
Welcome.
dog.
Damn it. Almost killed him.
Good try.
So you had some questions about damage propagation?
Yeah, I mean, I'm currently tier 5, but, I'm making a flyer, and, well, right now my flyer is about 1,100 blocks.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a lot of blocks.
Yeah.
Well,
How
my player
are your
level
blocks
so
spread out?
far is 62, I think.
Okay.
But I'm trying to make it to where, like, I'm at, like, an air juggernaut.
Alright, yeah, that's... Understanding damage propagation is obviously critical to that.
Yeah, so far my build is basically, like, first layer is 5 wide, then followed by under is 3 wide, 1 wide, and, you know, guns on the belly. I got 16 wings and a rotor.
Okay.
Thrusters anywhere I can put them. And I put some, like, armor blocks under the wings.
Okay. So you do understand that the only thing that matters is the block under your chair?
Yeah. Like,
Okay.
whenever
Yeah,
I upgrade to another tier, that's definitely the first one I get. And then I know, like, I understand, like, weapons, like, attachments all have more armor than the actual blocks. So I try, any exposed armor, I try to put something there to just absorb damage. But
so here's a place that I talked a little bit about the damage propagation. Particularly about how adjacency mitigates, you know, a block that has 5 blocks adjacent to it will mitigate more damage because it splits the remaining damage over 5. So it's divided up quicker. I even gave an example of dissipation shielding, where this one right here. You know, this isn't a perfect example, but it's the idea is that, you know, I have 3 attachment points. You know, I have a backbone with attachment points going down to plasma, and all of the glass. Obviously, you wouldn't do this in glass. You would use some type of armor. I just did this so you can see through it. All of that glass that has 0 adjacency to the entire orange backbone. It's all using prisms and tetras to make sure they don't actually touch. But that whole shield only attaches to the green points on the top, which, especially if you're a flyer, you're more likely to take hits from the bottom and sides. So doing that kind of suspended, you're hanging the shield from attachment points, elsewhere, above, may be a good idea. And I can take several hits to that glass, and it wouldn't even touch my plasmas on the bottom. It would just be propagated or through the dissipation shielding without going to core structure.
So, when that glass gets hit, because of how you got to set up with the half cubes and quarter cubes.
Yeah.
That any
They're all
damage
going
that
along the
gets,
ridge.
all the glass spreads out just through the glass, and the only points it doesn't are those green.
No, eventually,
cubes.
if it spreads to the green cube, then it can spread down to the backbone.
Okay.
But any hits, especially lower towards the weapon, have a lot of armor blocks to kind of dissipate through before they ever get to critical structure.
So, if you would have had the glass pretty much connected to the orange blocks in that, then the damage would mitigate to the orange correctly or indirectly.
Yeah. So, like, if they were, say, if all of those were just whole blocks, cubes.
Yeah.
A hit down, say, the glass next to the prism would immediately spread to the prism, the orange block that the plasma's on. You'd immediately lose that gun. Especially when you get hit by a rail shot, which is so much damage. The rail shot can, if the rail, say you're -1 to your armor, a lot of flyers and stuff can have -1 armor, and you get hit by like a +1. This is whatever your 2 level. A plus.
Yeah.
I'm not
rail
meaning
gun,
to steal all the kills, sorry.
It will
You that
punch
guy trying to
straight
kill the
through
ball?
3 layers of armor. 3 layers of adjacency sometimes.
So, I could make my playing tankier just by taking and adding more angled or half blocks to where they're less connected to pretty much my frame.
Yes, yeah. So especially around the weapon pylons, it's very effective to make sure you keep your weapons, particularly around wing mount points. Some people are gonna shoot your wings and you're gonna lose them, but it sucks to lose a wing because a railgun damage just dissipated into the shield, into the block that it's mounted on. That's the kind of lame way to lose a wing that has so many hit points.
Awesome.
Okay.
Similarly, that block under your chair, you have to be careful where you run your adjacency. Obviously you don't put the chair on the bottom floor of a flyer because you're gonna get one-shotted by some lucky railgun.
Yeah. At my current tier, like, it's fun because I built it so big and bulky
And use a
that
prism.
I can literally just fly over their base and just blow everyone who has railguns. I just blow all their shots, and then
Put a
I'm still
prism under
flying.
your chair.
Yeah,
Well-
but you probably noticed that you can lose your guns on the bottom before you die.
Yeah,
'Cause
like
those are the
anytime I
targets
get
of
shot at,
opportunity.
I always try to get the belly toward them because that's where
Yeah.
I put all the armor.
Yeah, so by doing this type of shielding mechanic, retain your armor like it is, connected and big and fat, but run these unconnected, non-adjacent pylons through it to keep your guns. Yeah, what's up?
I think you just figured out what how Kiam armored his flyer and why he was so confident in its ability.
Huh.
Because he had a similar kind of, like, it's not exactly like how you have yours, but he does have like a long tube, And I suppose that if he had an inner armor and an outer armor, that would give him a major boost.
That's
Well,
a
and you
really odd
can-
tactic.
Yeah. Well, and you can make this further, like make this shield +1 bigger with an inner space gap with tetras filling the entire thing. And you'll
That's just
dissipate
filling
shots
the.
like
You
crazy.
mean like filling the entire shield, or filling?
Yeah, well, think about that little picture with the glass, but make it 5 wide, and
Uh-huh.
have one space of air between the glass and the orange, and attach tetras to the glass pointing at the orange. Just a
User
ton of
disconnected
tetras.
from your channel.
100 tetras everywhere. And the thing is, so every hit on the glass will propagate inward to the tetra and adjacent to adjacent blocks. Well, each of those adjacent blocks will propagate inward to the tetra and then to adjacent blocks. So it's always a +1 adjacency on the armor.
So they're just gonna. The shot would go through the outer armor, through the prism, and then to the other prisms, or to your inner.
Well, no, it would. The prisms don't have. So the prisms are pointy. They don't have any adjacency except on the 3 sides. So the one side is attached to the glass. The other 2 sides you try to point to air or nothing.
Okay.
So that way,
So-
if you get shot, the damage can only get mitigated to.
To the shield,
So
you know,
can pretty
across the
much
shield,
just-
and it's tankier due to the prisms inside.
It was pretty much you just lose the damage.
You'd lose, yeah. You take chunks of your shield would come off, but especially if you're moving, the chance of them hitting the exact same spot in your shield multiple times isn't very large. You're only gonna lose like little 2x2, 3x3 areas of your shield, and chunk by chunk before you take any.
Okay,
You'll be able
I'm
to
going
take
right.
hit after hit after hit from an SMG before losing any effectiveness. You're not going to lose any wings. You're not going to lose any guns. And eventually they're going to be able to get through that shield. But that's the whole point, is that you can take those hits.
So if I could just put like spacing in between my layers, or some kind of way to where the next
But-
layer can't get hit,
Yeah.
then
I had this
Yeah.
idea for armor where it was just a plate connected by 4 points on the corners. By the way, guys, I need help at base. They're just base rushing. That's what we're doing right now.
Yep, they are.
Okay, I'm gonna die.
I'm
Yeah, let
coming
me,
back round.
But
I jumped to my demo garage, and I'll show you kind of. So one of the fly. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I totally interrupted. Go ahead.
No, that's cool. So yeah, a plate attached at the 4 corners, and that's it. Do you think that would be? pretty
It
much
doesn't
it?
really work too well. You actually need more anchor points on the plate.
all right.
Yeah, I'll show you an idea that I did that was actually decently effective, and it's basically suspending the chair to be attached to your roof. Now you don't have to. The thing is about as you start putting your backbone and your attachment points on the roof, that becomes sensitive. So watch out for SMG flyers. They wreck your day pretty quick, but they're going to do that anyway. It's more about 90% of your opponents are going to be air plasmas or ground based.
Yeah,
So
I rarely see flyers with SMGs, but if I do, I usually just run because I'll have my teammates.
Well, that was fucking awesome.
Well, one of my
Terrell.
teammates is
We
Good
fucking
job.
kicked their ass.
I kind of like just circle around him. I just
Something you can
try to
do.
wait. And if I need help, he shoots whoever's getting me.
Something you probably want to learn how to do is how to make a sheet of armor just using prisms. Essentially, you build a framework on which to place the prisms, and you just place them so that the flat side's down. And you'll work it out. But
Yeah,
yeah, you
I'll-
essentially just create an outer shield of ablative armor just using prisms, anchor it. You'll want to probably a centralish anchor, or actually
And
slightly
going
off
from the
center.
side.
But yeah,
Another question about that is, I'm not sure if it's a bug in the game or not, but if you take the 2 quarter blocks, or the triangle triangle
There we go.
looking ones.
Yep.
You can set them on each other in a way to where it looks like they're not attached. But are they
Any
still
unattached block. Okay, so any flat faces do attach. But if a block is not attached, you'll get this warning when you try to enter practice or whatever.
Well, if you take those two, I'm saying quarter because it's basically a quarter of a block. Set one down, and then you set the other one on it, and just mouse wheeled until it was like just the edges of them touch. It
Yeah,
looks like
that's
they're
not
not
a connection.
attached.
Yeah, they're not attached.
Yeah, the interesting thing with that is with prisms, the tetras, sorry, they don't attach. But if you do the same thing with the inner cubes, they do attach.
Okay.
Well, yeah, the inner cubes. Oh.
Yeah, the inner cubes shouldn't attach, but they do.
Well, no, and the inner cube has oh, I see. Well,
Yeah, you can place them where they look like they shouldn't be attached, but they are.
Well,
I think I see what you mean.
Yeah, another thing you can do is with placement of pilot seat, if you're trying to put armor on top of your pilot seat, is you can put a prism above the pilot seat before you actually place it, and you can actually use that as an anchor point for stuff that goes above, but you can't place that after you actually place the pilot seat. Technically that's a placement glitch, but pretty much everyone in the game uses it.
What?
I usually don't try to use glitches because I figure they'll get patched.
User
Are
joined
you
your
talking
channel.
about where above?
It'd be the
directly
third
above?
block. Yeah, it'd be the third block above your pilot seat. So you got the block below, then you got 1, 2, 3.
Whoa.
Yeah,
I never knew about that.
yeah.
So yeah, because there's like wherever your pilot's sitting,
I know the block.
it takes
in
like
front.
so many blocks above him before you start placing again.
Yeah. So I know. So he's a 2x3 area. But the his front top corner, you can always place a prism there, no problem. With this one, if you place the prism first before you place a chair, you can put one in the directly above him also. I had no idea about that one. That's nice. So I don't. Oh yeah, I'll show you. I have it.
Well, I have another request.
Okay.
I'm going to just open a stream just so I can show what my plane looks like, and any suggestions I would appreciate it.
Oh yeah.
I want in on this
I'm
too,
having
man.
troubles.
The
I can't make
resident
a good
pilot
comment.
around here.
We got a mini team.
Oh,
against
this is
us.
totally fair.
Yeah, it is.
You guys are making me want to build a plane.
It's fair.
It's because planes are better.
Yeah,
Is it better than
I
a land
raged
vehicle?
though.
Anything that floats or
Yeah.
flies is better than a land vehicle.
But it's ready if you want to look at it.
Give me a few minutes. We're in a match, and
Yeah.
I'd like to look at it and give you my ideas too.
Like, just because of my player level, like,
You'll get nothing from me.
Yeah,
Lord
Lord
Ball
Bow only knows
specializes in
hovercraft.
Hovers.
Well,
That's
one
his
particular
thing.
type of hovercraft.
I really don't like hovers, but I can say I fucking hate going against them just because Plasmas is so hard to hit. Because
That's the
all the-
whole point. That's why. This is the only reason that they're relevant in high chairs.
And
So I particularly, if I see a
Love
hover,
it.
I'll just nose dive. That way I can make sure I don't hit it.
They're circling around onto our base. We need to go back and
Yeah.
defend.
I got it.
I mean, we can get up on the cliff.
Now this is just kind of a crazy idea, and I almost wonder how effective this would be. So I'll throw you a screenshot when I've done it. I may make a flyer like this and see how many hits I can take.
Well, so far here, I can take, at the most I've seen, I was able to do just because of the
I'm down.
Of course,
Yeah, the ideal here is it should be it's effectively impossible to get a lucky hit on a driveway.
but I've taken, I would say, about 9 rail shots, and was still able to fly just fine. Like,
Can you link your stream to the
Alright, I'm going after the camper. You guys take out them flyers.
I'm playing dodgeball with their flyers.
Alright, I'm not taking out the camper, but I'm camping. I mean, I'm not camping. I stopped it.
you?
Still good.
Oh, there it is.
It's all good. Shit, baby, it's all good, baby. Come on. Enjoy yourself.
But right now, it's probably paused until I actually get tab back into the game. Like, I don't know how to change that and stuff. I don't stream or anything. I just do it to be able to show people quickly.
I got you. I'm watching a advertisement right now.
Yeah. Alright, I'll just jump in.
Oh, okay. Alright, so I'm looking at it.
I mean, besides
Alright,
like,
go try capping.
tier blocks I have available,
Good job.
Can
that's
I see
basically
the?
I'm
Can I
gonna
see
try
your
and
belly?
carry-
Oh wait, first of all, take off those helium blocks. Every last one of them.
Yeah, with wings you do not need healing. All they do is make you slower.
Alright, let me see your belly.
I'm kind of using the helium because it's too heavy for the wings. I think that's how it works. It's too heavy for the wings, and
You need.
You're better off
if-
putting more
if that's
forward
the
thrusters.
case, then you. Yeah, you got all your thrusters on the top, which will. If you can imagine.
yeah,
like
I
a s-
understand that if they're not on the same row your wings are. It's if they're on
No.
top, it'll go downward. If they're on bottom, they'll start going upward.
Yeah. So yeah, underneath the wings it'll go up. So put some thrusters on your sides, and not so much on your top. Take out the helium, and you should be fine. If not, put some higher tier wings up front. But your belly looks good. I don't know if is there anything above those prisms right there, those blue prisms?
No, I
That's-
have them there just because I have places I can put stuff, and I figured more blocks would help.
Yeah, change that. Yeah. Wait, no, not those prisms. The ones that like line your entire belly. Can you like give me a 360 of your plane? Like on the sides of it, like a side view.
I'm loading up Twitch here.
Okay. Oh, alright. Take all those prisms and point them in the other way. All the prisms on your belly. Just invert them. Yeah.
So, like,
That'll give you more armor.
like that
Hold on.
catches up.
It's gotta catch up. Yeah, wait. Yes, just like that. Yeah.
Now,
Do that on your entire belly.
this is the
Because those blocks will be destroyed without the damage going upwards to your cockpit and your wings and all that. It'll stay down or it'll go inwards and it'll just take out the bottom row of your aircraft. So they have to peel the entire, unless they shoot in the same spot, they have to peel the entire bottom layer of your robot before you get at your middle and top top
Would it
layer.
be best if I did it like this? Like if I did all the layers like that?
Yes. But I think that might change the way the damage gets.
Okay.
In theory, it should be better, yeah, if you do that on both layers.
This is the pilot layer. When stream catches up. I just basically changed everything to like this. It should help mitigate more damage.
Yeah, that right there is some good stuff. Now, if you made that bottom layer, if you made that pink stuff like 2, or if you made it 3 across down your entire robot and then added those fins, that would like as you tier up, that would be a good design change.
For anyone that's watching the
like,
channel,
evolve.
I need to
Yeah,
work out how
yeah,
to
just
actually
like
get
if
the
you,
Front
like
to back or left to right?
left to
other
right,
views to
like,
show up
instead of
as overlays on
having,
here.
like, as
It's
you
kind of annoying
level
not
up
being able to
and
see what they're
evolve your
talking about.
pilot or your driver. Put up the plane.
Yeah.
Just make your bottom wider and then add those prisms on the side there. See, like me and Lord Ball, we kept the same design through the like entire, like Lord Ball, since he was like, I don't know, tier 1 or whatever, he's done like the same hover concept, like same design, and it's evolved the same way that my plane evolved. And the tutorial that I feature on my channel, that's like the most basic form of my tier 10 flyer design, which isn't that great now that I've learned about this stuff, but what you have going here is pretty good.
The person basically like take some of these full blocks, or just try to get like all the fin or half. I just call them half blocks on the actual name. Prisms. And
Hey, your flyer looks
downward.
kind of like mine, and like basically the exact same almost.
Make the armor.
Like I have the two.
It's
lasers
a
like
basic
that, and I
design
have
that a lot of
blocks
people
on my
use, so
legs.
yeah.
Because like
Because it works.
I mean I don't have the guns on it.
It's
or
a
anything,
slightly
I
different
just,
design.
Okay, I'm gonna throw you a bunch of screens. So, this is not really a flyer design, but it's demonstrating a ton of armor techniques.
See, like where you have those points coming out on your bot, like the middle prism in each like set that you do, if there was a thruster there on each of those points, you wouldn't need that helium.
where at?
You know, like the way like those prisms on your sides like flower out.
Yeah.
The middle bit, the prism that's like flat when you're looking at it from the top down, if that was a thruster in each spot, you wouldn't need those helium blocks, or just even in the front and in the middle if you put a thruster there on each side. And the bottom layer for the blue, the way I said to like fan your belly out, the way you did it on the front, do that throughout your whole belly. Just like flip the prisms on the bottom layer of your robot like you did up front, but throughout your entire belly.
Okay. What about the layer that I have my basic the very top where it's these 3 orange?
That's fine. I mean, you want your, it's okay if like your top layer is just flat out cubes. Because I mean, that's the final layer. If they're at your top layer, you're dead. So you want to
And-
keep them from getting to your top layer, and then your top layer can be basic.
Yeah. Also, I mean, I built this to where I built from the middle outward because, you know, in game, I started noticing that the front half or the back half is usually the first to go. So I started putting like all the essentials in the middle and just started adding stuff on the outside or the front and back, so people, you know, regardless, even if my plane is like sawed in half, I can still fly it.
Yeah, that's good. And if you want to keep your survivability up, in the sense that if your plane got split in half, usually it's gonna be from the back end, or at least that's how it was with me. I never did this, but what you can do is move your pilot seat up. So when your entire back end gets shot off, like usually your if your front wings are shot off, you're screwed. If your back wings are shot off, you can like satellite around. So if you have your pilot seat up front, you increase your survivability and your chance to get to do that instead of, you know,
Well,
just getting killed
yeah.
off the bat because you got your
Well, I
back end
started
shut off.
noticing that wherever the pilot is pretty much where like you're looking around.
Yeah, the pivot.
That's your anchor point of your camera. But
Yeah.
like as far as the wings, they're always set for the furthest back cube and the furthest front cube as to which way they'll, like if I want to turn left, like front 4 will turn how you would expect, and then the back 4 would turn the opposite way. The same with like going up and down. So it's like the middle is pretty much like I even put these windows here just to make people think that's where my pilot is.
That's kind of where your pilot is, though. If they
a little bit, he's a little further back.
So what your goal is have him shoot there, so your front end gets sawed off.
Yeah, because
So you just have a smaller plane.
Yeah. Or I could even put it up further, but you know, I learned, you know, people who are gonna snipe, they're looking for the windows first.
If you want to get crazy with that, I put your pilot seat like all the way up and put that glass stuff like a couple back, so they saw off your back half. And then if you have those front thrusters on the sides of your aircraft, you'll still have proper lift.
Yeah, I was trying to use the thrusters to hide the pilot.
Yeah.
But it's like I said, as soon as I get hit, I turn my belly toward him, so they can't figure out where he's at, and they're just.
You can also tell the way a flyer, where the pilot is, by how someone turns.
That's more advanced though.
Yeah, that's when you're getting crazy.
I made a new design using what you told him about the belly out of the layers. Because I found I always got like shot by the belly and like take out the entire part of my aircraft. That might completely solve that entire problem.
Yeah, what?
So, I tried to crazy, especially in T10, the rails, if there are rails, really hurt, and even SMG does. So having a solid core, I found that they'll just rip through it. And I actually made a flyer that was literally kind of like my little screenshots. The
Oh yeah.
8SP. Yeah, so this is not a finished build at all, but it's just showing some of the concepts. So if you click on like the 8SB one, I have a top ring. The brown ring is the supporting ring.
Channel.
It supports the orange thing is basically completely suspended from the top, and that houses the chair. So any hits to the bottom have to go outside the entire shell, go up the walls, and go into the top.
So those orange aren't actually touching the green?
No, they're not. There's a one spaced out. And so even the blues can be suspended, say, from the top, and like I'm showing the tetra spiking, where I can take a direct hit on this plasma on the front with a blue, and even with a +2 tier railgun, it cannot propagate up through the 4th block. Like it'll go up maybe 1, 2, 3 blue blocks spread out to the tetras, but it will not hurt the orange block. And by then it's gone. Now there's no that. It basically it's just like burning out that particular attachment. You know,
Here's a
that 3
question.
blocks tetra. Yeah.
All right. You got like 3 blue high. I'm wondering if those if the whites on the 3rd blue, if you
Yeah.
didn't have them there, would that mitigate more damage?
No. So how damage works? So let's look at the plasma. Say the plasma wasn't there, and I shoot that blue block. So say it's 1,000 damage. We're gonna make a summary. Say that each of the blocks has 100 hit points. So it's 1,000 damage minus 100 because it burns out the blue. It will then spread to all adjacent cubes. In this case, it has 3 white tetra spikes, and then the net's blue. So that's going to divide the remaining 900 damage by 4. So that's going to be I can't math today.
You can't math.
So that's going to spread. Yeah. I was going to spread 225 to every cube. The 3 whites are completely dead end, so they're going to burn out, and it's done. Then it'll move to the next blue. It's going to apply 225, subtract 100 for its health, leaving 125, which is then going to be spread to its 5 adjacency. It has 4 tetras plus 1, so it's 125 divided by 4. That's 25 damage to each. It's not even going to hurt. It's barely going to hurt that 3rd blue cube, and a rail shot has been completely mitigated. You know, you've lost 2 blue cubes and the attached tetras.
So if those whites were not there, the remaining damage would directly go to the orange.
So let's just ignore all the white blocks. You would take 1,000 to the blue, 100 would burn out, 900 would mitigate to the next blue, minus 100, 800 would mitigate to the next blue, and it could walk most of the way to the seat without the dead end tetras to get damage, split damage away.
This is crazy because this
You're hurting my brain.
Like I'm just gonna be like a kid in a candy store when I finally rebuild this and like cannot be shot down.
Yeah. So
Oh, you'll get shot down.
Oh
You
yeah,
get shot
it will
down.
happen.
Fuck.
No, this is just crazy ideas. No, obviously this isn't a viable flyer. But it's trying to demonstrate some mechanics. So I actually made a T10 plasma bomber that was actually similar to scale here. I didn't have all the tetra spiking though. But I did have the suspended seat hung from the roof with a air gap with a big box around it, and all the wings on the outside of this humongous freaking cube. It was silly, it was ridiculous looking, but I was absolutely amazed at the ridiculous amount of damage I could take before eventually getting shot down.
I mean, like, it takes a lot to get me down with the current setup I have on this thing, but if I can do this and mitigate more damage.
Well, and the ideal is to use it sparingly, not so ridiculously, but using such ideas for certain amount of points or certain armor plating on certain areas that are critical, to try to mitigate damage out and away from your structural core, to somewhere where it's not really doesn't really matter.
Well, the way I me and a friend play is since floater, I try to just circle them because I don't know what it is, but people's instant reaction is like they see this big ass plane, let's shoot it down.
Yeah.
That way I can buy him time to charge, and if I see someone using rails, I'll go straight for him because he can't shoot me down. Like I say like 1 out of 10 times they can get the pilot seats. But,
Yeah.
but usually they are the first people I go for. Like if someone shoots at me with a rail, I'll just turn and go straight for them. Like I'm not trying to dodge them or anything, because
They're not gonna hurt you that bad.
yeah, like there's because the limit's 6, so I know mine can at least take 6 shots, unless the guy's really good and able to find my driver and get all 6 there.
Yeah, and that's the primary driver of why railguns are so ineffective in T10, because it's not very difficult at all, fairly trivial really, to make a T10 bot that is mathematically impossible to kill in several volleys of railguns.
That sounds
Now-
like me.
I figured as long as I spot the railgunner before he spots me and I can shoot them before he shoots me, then I'm perfectly fine.
Usually
Now
that's-
on this this picture you were showing with the blue, orange, and green, and white blocks, is it ideal to use, like, if it's the dead end places, just use white blocks?
Well,
should
okay,
use
so there's a few things about that. With the white blocks, if you take a plasma hit, it's going to wipe out every single one of them. Even on the outer fringes, due to them having so little health. I used to use white prisms, but even on a ground tank, but they would get instantly up to the first time I get hit by plasma, and it actually will inflate your repair bills because you lose a large percentage of your block count, just from a single plasma, but you don't lose any structural stuff. So it would be better if they had a little more armor, but I know, initially the easiest way to fill it out is with whites because they're so cheap.
Okay, so if I finish my build and I got, extra CPU to blow, there's some cracks on it.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, because I think after the second day I've been playing this game, I've been trying to figure out all the game's mechanics. Like I learned that if you like, alright, I tried to build like a kind of like a big box, so I could like hide in it or something, and just build complete armor, and that way they can go like full damage, and just basically just beeline it to the enemy base, and when I finally get shot up, yeah, they can like come out of my box, do the rest, or build like a carrier. But I learned that if like what I have is like a box, there's like a floor and walls, and I found out that
User
there's
joined
like
your
this
channel.
invisible ceiling, even though there's no blocks there. There's this invisible ceiling that the game's mechanics have, so they can't actually get into this box like Robocraft. They were all ground,
Can I get ready?
all wheeled. They can't get in it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping that they change the interaction with other player bots.
Yeah, well, some people even tried like flyers with hooks to try to hook. There's a certain bot that had a really thing that you could hook,
Yeah.
but the physics just doesn't work. It just jerks you around.
Yeah, like this. I mean, it would be so cool if they did it that way, because then we could make like an air carrier and just have people in it, just like drop them off or something.
Yeah.
Q.
I think Drafella is AFK.
I'm here. I'm just messing around in practice.
Oh, okay. Well, we're ready when you are.
Okay, I will switch back to that.
A few more questions. I'll stop bothering you guys. Is all damage the same way?
No.
Well, okay,
Like
so
if, say
Ra-
if an SMG
propagation?
hits block.
Rail and SMG is I'm okay. So originally, Plasma was supposed to be an AOE that has this fall off that does less damage, but I hear that it.
Wow.
Oh, so what I think it is it is an AOE that applies damage in its field, falling off to its match range, but I think that damage still propagates similar. I don't know. There's
I
a
can
few
chime in a
reasons.
little bit on the plasma side
Okay.
of things. The way I understand it is it does hit detection on the outside first, and then the damage propagates inward from that point. So, but there's also automatic damage transference. So you'll get maybe 40% of the damage will go to the first block, and another 40% will go to the block below it. So if you're hit by on a weapon, there's still going to be damage that transfers to the block underneath that, even if the weapon isn't destroyed. So that's one of the biggest difference with plasma, and why a lot of the armor designs don't really work so well against it.
Yeah, I've been noticing like with the plasmas that their damage, like the say the blast radius is kind of like say it's like the core of the earth, like the closer into the middle, there's more damage as it layered out. And because I noticed like I can't do much. Like if I hit someone with my full volley, that they have like still they almost have like still all their armor cubes, but in a couple like maybe one or two more shots, then all of a sudden they all disappear.
Yeah, that's because you're dealing damage over a large area, but you're dealing, it can take 2 or 3 volleys just to actually wipe out that section of a bot, but you're still doing a lot more damage overall in comparison.
Yeah. Now
You wouldn't believe how much that armor fixed the problem of me being one-shotted like in half,
Now, the problem with if you design a bot to make use of every single known way to mitigate damage, and you make your entire bot that way, Plasma's pretty much just going to destroy it. You can leak a lot of damage out of your bot, but it's learning to create a happy medium where, okay, what situations are you really going to be in where you're exposed to plasma? As a flyer, it's not so important, so you can actually get away more with the technically weaker structural designs, but more damage mitigation. Whereas for a ground bot, you pretty much have to have a solid core and solid hard points on which to mount your guns, but then you put the ablative on top of that. So.
Now, does the damage from SMGs and plasma work the same way, like how it mitigates to other blocks adjacent?
You mean
to it?
Plasma and Rail?
I'm coming.
Yeah, it does. It does, yeah. How it transfers, if a block gets saturated, is still the same. So you've got multiple mechanics technically going on there, but yeah, the overall damage you'll take on a single point is never going to be anywhere near as high as an SMG or anything like that.
Oh boy.
So if an SMG shoots one block, is it mitigated like the same way as like if the rail hit that same block?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
I've used up all my CPU. That is good. Placing blocks to counteract being
I need help in their base.
all the CPU.
I picked up the wrong bot for this. I meant to pick up my hovercraft. Instead my crappy flyer.
I will never use it. So, don't worry, they're the free items.
So when the weapon gets hit, because it can only sit on one block, it transfers.
There we go. Okay.
Is that one block?
Yeah, to the block below it, yeah. Assuming the weapon is destroyed.
Not sure what I want to get next as of blocks. Or not blocks, but stuff to research.
Alright guys, I wanna head to bed.
Yeah, me too.
As a plasma bomber to upgrade, what should I research next?
Y'all take it easy. Have a good night.
I would
Later.
say, from what I kind of learned with
Thanks for
plasma
watching,
bombers,
Christopher.
Disconnected from your channel.
your best bet is to upgrade your guns first, because they usually, like I've noticed, like my guns take most of the damage I ever take. Because
My
once
guns
they
are
go,
like last
then I
thing to get
start
shut
going.
off, surprisingly. I've got L7, so I'm a
That's
tier
what-
6.
A weapon has about what 3 or yeah, I'm not looking at it right now, but like I don't know, at least 4 times as much armor as the armor blocks.
That's true. But then my my L7 thrusters kind of have more armor.
Did Vegetative log?
What?
Did Vegetative disconnect?
I don't know.
Well, he's not in the server, so I guess so.
Yeah, he disconnected. Says he disconnected.
Another question about armor cubes.
Which one?
Just in any tier. You know how you got the 4 types you can get.
Yeah.
They all have the same armor base, just a different mass. Does that make a difference?
I'm gonna go
It,
see
makes
guys
for,
later.
it can make a
User
difference for
disconnected from your
flyers.
channel.
Flyer
Just
balance.
like movement mechanics.
It can make a difference. To be, it just means that you can't use really low-level hover blades, etc., to move around larger vehicles. The same with low-level wheels. It makes it harder for you to use those kinds of things to move around level 8, level 10 boss, because you will get everything goes slower. But
I mean, it would be nice if they added a feature to where it tells you how heavy your bot is.
yeah, I do notice on my hovercraft, that's one of the reasons why I always do weight optimization. You have a lot more mass and it's a lot slower to respond in turning and stuff like that, so there is a noticeable impact. For ground bots not so much, but for anything that flies or hovers, then yeah, it is important to keep an eye on your weight. Or your mass rather. Okay, well, why I went the long way I have no idea. I'm probably going to get too late to the fight.
I spent so much time just like tetraing out everything. Really takes me forever to build out bots.
Yeah, I never the thing is, I never really took the time to figure out how damage is taken. I've taken the time to try to figure out how it's done. In some case.
At a certain point you can actually spend way too much time trying to work on the perfect design, and you know, the game, at the end of the day you're playing a game, it's supposed to be fun. And if you spend 5 hours to work on a design and you try to play it and it sucks, then it depends. If you feel that as an achievement, then it's an achievement, but otherwise, you know, what do you want to do? Do you want to actually fight, or do you want to build robots?
Well, I have used this. I use this for just try to carry me through the tiers. I did use it. That's SMG. So I decided to make a flyer because then I only have to worry about the rails, really. Because, I mean, at its current state, I don't even try to dodge. I'll just fly right over them. And just take all the shots and just keep bombarding them. because once they realize like they're not shooting me down, then I like to think that a fear factor is jumping in and they start trying to get away.
You talking about rails?
Yeah, especially rails. Someone hits me with a rail, I turn straight to him and head for him, and that kind of freaks them out because they're like, "What's he doing? Like, why isn't he trying to dodge like everyone else?"
Well, at tier 10, the railgun is basically useless. It's like the worst possible weapon.
Yeah, to be honest, once you get past tier 7, even at tier 7, then you'll find that railguns actually become a liability as opposed to anything useful. And the biggest thing to learn about tier 9 and 10 is it's all about size. You're not going to survive with smaller bots, you have to build big.
What about would curious, but would railguns be viable if you could have more at tier 10 just because of how much you got to shoot through? Like instead of being only able to shoot 6, like 8.
Well, if
They
they
would-
had individual cooldowns, that would matter more.
Yeah, the problem with railguns is that, yeah, you don't have enough that you can shoot, and they take up so much space that it's actually kind of hard to fit more than 6 onto a design. The maximum you can really fit would be about 8, that would only be for redundancy, but any more than that and you're going to have a lot of problems with the space they take up just getting them onto a bot.
How much space is stuff taken up at tier 10? Like,
I think
so the
17
SMG
blocks, I
guns-
think it was.
for the rails?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. In SMG, you have to space them by with 7 or 6 between them, depending on if they're parallel or back to back or front to front. So 7 blocks between SMG mount points. Now you can do things like by tiering them up, or doing a 3x2 like alternating. That can get them a little closer, like 5 apart. But you still, I mean, the bots end up huge. This bot design I'm looking at right now is well, it's 12, 15, 16, 17, at least 17 wide and 24 plus long.
Okay, railguns are 13 blocks in diameter. So you've essentially got a 13 block circle in which you can't put anything else.
What about height?
It's going to be 7.5 blocks, I think. So yeah. Put it this way: you get railguns. You can fit. Let's see how many I can fit in the bay front to back.
I mean, I wish this game would allow you to like visit other people's garages or something with them.
Yeah.
Or something.
You can fit 3 railguns front to back, so you could actually fit 9 railguns onto the floor of your bay. That's with everything in bounds. If you put them so they're out of bounds, then you could probably fit 16, but that's a hell of a lot of space for those guns to take up.
Is the current player level unlimited at the moment?
It's
No,
level
100.
100.
It is 100. What's the CPU at 100?
It's 1511
1500.
or 1511.
Kind of doing some statistics. Kind of looked, and it's like to fill this mothership completely up with blocks, it would be like 35,000 CPU or something like that.
Yeah, we can't get anywhere near that right now.
Yeah, what they're planning to do with the CPU is it's actually going to be divided out into different types. So you have CPU for weapons, CPU for armor, CPU for devices, and you will be able to unlock.
Prevent twinks.
Yeah, and you'll be able to unlock with excess TP additional CPU for each tier for each of those types of things. So as you progress up through the tiers, you'll have to make a choice. Do you want to focus more on weapons or armor or what to you know, suit your playstyle.
I mean, if you haven't told, can tell by the way I was trying to describe it, but I like to be able to essentially tank. Like, if I shoot somebody, if I get them to where they have no weapons, I just stop shooting them. Go to the next guy.
Yeah. For a while, the reward system let everyone wanted to get the chills, but that doesn't actually matter now in the new reward system. As long as you get assist, you get the same number of points.
What is the requirements for an assist?
25% damage.
Okay.
This bot is looking crazy.
Now, I'm currently upset with how the platoon size is. Even with adding premium, it's still just 4. With, I think next week, I think they're gonna come bring out clans. They're gonna allow more people to join at once.
I admit,
Yeah,
I haven't really looked at the whole clan plan as yet.
From what I've been reading through their website and stuff, like from their devs, that Monday or Tuesday, they're gonna get like a try and put it like in beta, I would believe. I think this is an alpha or a closed beta. Am I correct?
It's not.
Open.
Yeah, this is an open beta technically now. They call it an alpha, but by all industry standards, it's actually an open beta.
And I am really looking forward to the Electro armor.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Yeah, that's my currently build in progress.
To accommodate those blocks. So there wasn't much description about it, except how the shielding's gonna. But I had questions like if you have one block by itself, okay, it's like shielding itself for so much, but you have 2 blocks beside each other, each have their individual shield, or they join together to make a bigger shield, big shield for covers both of them.
I think each plate is probably going to have its own hit points, but we will really have to see exactly how it works. They haven't revealed too much about it, but logically they should each have their own hit points, and from that side, you'll probably see a lot more circular designs. Like my tier 10 donut is essentially pre-designed so that I can just strip off the outer layer of armor and replace it all with electroplate, in which case that would be a ridiculously powerful design, but we'll have to see exactly what they do.
It would be a must for all flyers.
Yeah, with flyers it would be, because electroplate is actually going to be fairly heavy from their descriptions, so it might be a must, but it's going to cause some issues with flyer designs that want to use it.
Yeah, it might for me, because I'm thinking bigger's better. The more blocks you have, the more damage you take. After you guys explained it to me, damage you can mitigate.
What do you think about my design in progress?
Or something. The hovercraft?
Yeah.
So I take it the back weapons are more likely to be destroyed?
No, it's not going to be out there like that. That's just the initial structure, and I'm building the armor out now.
Okay.
Yeah, I do all the structural hard points, and then I build tripod redirecting armor around it, so that every single one of those hovers and guns, the blocks around it are not attached to them in any way. All of them ground to the base structure at the bottom of the bot. So you're going to have to go through 2 to 3 layers of armor before you can make any contact and start popping off guns and hovers.
But that would basically, I mean, if you were to use it the way it is now, those back guns would be.
Oh yeah, one shot.
Trying to like reassure my understanding.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, you're right.
So it's pretty much like I have my layer of armor and just attach it to the next layer via a few blocks, like some kind of like a frame of a car.
Yeah.
I'll be able to light my plane up a little. Less thrusters, and I can add even more armor. Have you guys about unit collision?
That's freaking wonky. I know that.
Because I know it's completely different between mates and between like teammate and enemy or whatnot.
It's not just that. The collision is different between or the physics are different between practice mode and the actual game mode. Well, it basically comes down to there's no possible way that you could actually build any kind of design where you actually join 2 bots together to like have a turret built into a tank, because collision detection just doesn't like it. You end up just flying everywhere. And
was that intentionally done, or it's just they haven't got to that?
It's kind of necessary for the kind of physics and the damage propagation and stuff. You're talking about a hell of a lot of CPU overhead actually calculating that type of thing. So it might be something that they'll get better over in time, but you know, they really need to do another optimization pass where everything like that's concerned, and it doesn't really detract anything from the game other than when you get those weird, crazy collisions and you fly like a ridiculous amount, or you get flipped by a 2-block block. Yeah.
And the ground tires get stuck in the ground.
Yeah, I've never experienced that, but then I don't really use tires that much, so.
I've had a couple, because I like to make, I got this one main one, and I got several other bays where I was just where I test the game's mechanics. Like, I've noticed, I tried to make a giant gyro. You guys have ever seen a sort of Marvel Avengers, like a cartoon or whatnot, or animated movie? I think it was, the enemy's called Hydra. One of them, I think it was that show. It was just like a giant wheel with guns on the side of it, and it would just roll. Real life physics, a tire spinning can keep itself up.
Oh, yeah, just like a unicycle, bicycle, all those.
So I took as much as I could to make a circle, as best as I could, and just put like enough thrusters on it to get it to spin. But I noticed, like, once the actual blocks come in contact with the ground, it automatically breaks. Like, the blocks will slide, but they don't roll.
Yeah. One thing that's interesting. So thrusters, well, most things produce drag once you exceed a certain speed, but thrusters only produce drag in the direction of lift if you're moving in that direction. And so right now, one of the only hyper speed things is kind of a power sliding thruster bed. That's all it has is thrusters. That's it. No wings, no helium, nothing. And as long as it's powering sideways, like a little bit of thrust pushes you in that direction, and the thrusters don't slow you down, and you can go ridiculously stupid fast.
So you're like drifting.
Yeah, drifting all the time. Yeah, I've seen one of the guys flies it, and like you'll start the match, and like 2 seconds later you'll see him go, just power sliding straight over your head, like right at the beginning of the match. Like he doesn't do anything, he can't shoot anything, but he can move around the map ridiculously stupid fast.
I've actually.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've actually got a sled which I mess around with on occasion, which it actually only uses, I think it's the tier 2 thrusters. It's a tier 6 or 7 bot maybe, and I just use it for messing around occasionally because you can do all sorts of kind of funny stunts. It's fun. And it's fast.
I kind of just want to.
User disconnected from your channel.
If you guys would go, don't mind, go back to stream. Kind of give you kind of show you like what I like to try and do.
Yeah, hold on, I'm just finishing up a game.
Because I mean, I know the game's new, but I'm just trying to mess with its mechanics to see what can and cannot be done. Like, when I was saying about the box thing, to maybe put your teammates in it, and like, because I was going to make a giant semi and have them all drive up into it, but that invisible wall is there.
Yeah, it's not that there's an invisible wall, it's that the hitbox for it is actually fairly big, so you need to have like a 3-block gap between the nearest block and the enemy before they can get in. And there's also no kind of ramp mechanic because the prisms and the tetras aren't actually, they're all counted for hit detection as actual normal cubes, so there's no such thing as a ramp, so you can't actually get into those things. I know that, yeah, months ago we actually spent about 4 or 5 hours, a couple of us, testing it to see just what you could do. And
now I noticed something weird about it because I made that box. I had a floor and 3 walls. If they could drive into it from the back, they couldn't. So I told them to throw some hovers on and try to get in it from the top. I made it, I think, 5 high. And it was about probably 15 or 17 wide. I don't know, like long. But when they tried to get on top of it and go in, they couldn't get in. It was just they level with the highest blocks. But when I turned it into like a hover, took the floor out of it and just had it to where it was just walls, I could land on them. They'd be in it, but after a certain, I didn't spend much time with it, but if someone moved them, it would slowly raise them to the top, and then they can just sit at the top. But if I was to go forward, they would have to drive forward too, stay on top of me.
yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, that's where things kind of break, so you can't have someone that basically can't move otherwise and you actually provide the locomotion. It just doesn't work like that. They're essentially an immovable object.
Like, I thought it would be a cool concept. It'd be like, have a semi and you're just hauling your team. And they can shoot from it, then when you like get shot down, they can get out and just keep going.
Yeah, basically that's that whole concept is considered a carrier concept, so it's something a lot of people do kind of want, Have one person where they just build this huge mammoth like megabot where you can have lots of smaller bots get inside you and drive along, and you get to location and deploy. And that would be pretty cool if you could do it. And I hope that somehow they do improve those kinds of collision detection physics so it's possible. But because I think that would be, when they do introduce the megabots and raise the CPU cap via that system, then I think it would be a pretty interesting thing to add to the game.
I think they would definitely have to make bigger maps to accommodate that kind of strategy. Also, I noticed that teammates can't do it. It doesn't, but the mechanics for enemies be different. Like, it can be done with an enemy. Like, I did it as, I dropped down, I think it was like tier 2, and I made a box, and I lined the whole inside of the box with front SMG, and I just made a hovercraft, and teammates would just run out and find someone who was secluded. I'd hurry up and try to get over to them, fly over them, and just land on top of them. And now they're stuck in my box, and I just shoot inward with SMGs, and they couldn't get out.
Yeah, I made one of those designs. It was basic. Yeah, it was a block box. I called it the Claw. And it wasn't a solid box. It was literally just a framework through that had enough struts so the bots couldn't get through the struts. And yeah, it was guns inside, and because of the gaps in the struts, you could also use the guns to actually fire around you as well, so you weren't just restricted to that. But yeah, it was pretty funny to do, and that was prior to platoons. So now that you've actually got platoons where you could potentially organize that kind of thing, it would be interesting to see someone actually develop that concept further.
I think it was last night, we did a thing where I made pretty much, you can imagine like how an old locomotive looks. It's big wedge in front of it. I made a bot, like a wedge like that, and he would he'd be using rails, and whenever he would reload, he would just hide behind me, and I barely had any weapons, but it was just enough. Like, I had enough armor to buy him time to reload, and he would just peek out, do it again, and then jump back behind me.
Yeah, see, that's something you're probably going to see with Electroplate, where you have a bot which isn't really about damage. It's going to have a few guns on it, but it's just going to have a huge shield wall. And the part of the design will be that it will be moving so that you're actually providing a shield for the people that do have guns, and you'll see team play around that kind of thing. So you'll have one bot which literally is a tank, just to absorb damage, and then you'll have the others that are using you for protection.
I personally find that incredibly awesome.
Yeah, it adds more interaction between players. And then, like, the greatest thing they could possibly do at the moment would be allow a platoon to go into a practice mode together, and then work on stuff like maybe form.
Yeah. We need T10 practice bots.
The practice bots,
I wish we had like T10 variants.
I think they get to T10, but it takes a long time to get them to it.
No. They cap out at the equivalent of T5 or 6.
No matter how many kill, it only gets up that high.
Yeah, I spent, well, I don't know how long in there just killing stuff. I got to over 100 kills, and effectively they might technically be considered T10 bots, but the loadouts and stuff, they're not that good. So I think they cap about T5 and 6 realistically.
But what's more necessary is like practice. Bot should be at the tier you're at. You guys go to stream.
out of black cubes.
Alright, the stream's loading up. I'm in a game again, sorry.
Just kind of let me know when it gets where it's shown. You guys know about the glitch in the mothership?
Yep.
Yeah.
You go into the corner and you can get outside.
But is there a way to get back in besides re-logging?
Logging out. That's the only way I know.
What would be cool is if you're in a platoon, like the other motherships are like beside yours or something, you just leave yours and go to theirs. Or like a hallway that connects or something.
Does going to practice mode and backing out of practice mode not fix it?
Nope.
You might be able to get in by the lights.
I'm not sure, but the weird thing is you can still build while you're on the outside.
Oh yeah.
I think one of my friends went completely to, I believe, that mothership, and it was just
Yeah,
hollow.
I heard someone flew all the way to Mars.
And the vision system on this range, it could render a little bit more. Because you know how you got at that certain point where you just don't see an enemy or their name anymore. But if you look close enough, you'll see like certain pixels of whatever movement type they're using.
Yeah, you can see hovers from across the map, by the way.
Especially if they go in front of their bases thing. Is this showing? The stream? Yet?
Yeah, I see you flying around.
This one right here is going to be my concept for, because I'm going to make a bust of Ryu from Street Fighter. I was working on making a hand. What I got for it so far. This took probably an hour to figure out. Type of stuff I'm trying to do. I mean, besides the color of the blocks, I was just trying to use the cheap I got before I actually started making colors I need. I was thinking like having plasma cannons between his arms to make it look like an actual fireball or something shooting out. I tried this.
Strange glitch with glass on this machine.
Because I would like them to make
it's specific
a
to Radeon cards.
Wheel to allow, I don't know, maybe motorcycles. But I built this to kind of make it look like it. It's definitely not practical whatsoever, but it's just how I got the wheels.
Nice.
Got the try to make them look like one.
And here I am, just staring at a bit of blackness.
Playing about with the fly. This is a fun bot. It used to be a tier 2 design, but it's slipped into tier 3 now due to stuff they've changed.
But I've seen the contests, the build contests, and I've seen some pretty cool designs. Currently, there's one to make a futuristic spacecraft. I can't remember what the prizes are, but they're basing it on like how close it looks like it, the function of it, how well it does in battle.
Are you talking about, is that the one that's, because they did the sci-fi spaceship one, which that's already been and gone, or have they? Yeah. I actually designed a TARDIS for that, which I never submitted because I didn't have enough blue blocks. I had the design complete, I just didn't have enough blue blocks, so I never bothered to submit.
I like that. I think the best one I've seen is the Samus one. Yeah, it gave me an idea. It's like I would make a Ryu. I found out quickly that the amount of blocks space available, I couldn't make a full figured. So I figured I could just make his bust, at least from his waist up.
Yeah, if you watch my stream at the moment, you'll be able to see my fly.
Let's can you link it real quick?
Hold on a sec. How do I actually get the stream? I'm on YouTube.
Like the search bar, or on top.
Unfortunately, I need to go to sleep. It's late. I didn't get anywhere near done on my. I'm realizing I'm gonna have to cut out an entire layer because it takes too many blobs. Alright, y'all take care. Was nice chatting with you, Shin. I hope you're around more often.
Yeah, if you want, you could just add me as a friend and.
Your name is the same. I closed out the client, so if you want to add me, go ahead.
I mean, I'm definitely not gonna be in tier 10 for a while because I don't want to.
I like to play the lower tiers. I like to play the lower tiers too.
I usually play them because I'm trying to get some friends of mine up to my tier level, but it's like they're not understanding what I told them. It's like, just like, if you want an easy way to get to the next tier, just buy a crap load, whatever tier you have, and load your vehicle up with it. Because if you can at least get into the next tier, get a few matches and survive, or at least do stuff to where you can get some points, start unlocking next tier, and then